Welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute, your source of internet marketing inspiration.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute. I'm your host, John Henson, and this week I kind of wanted to go in a little bit different of a direction and talk to you guys about just setting up systems, making decisions, things like that. A lot of times I see it's usually one of two different things. A lot of law firms either don't have a lot of good systems and processes in place, or on the other end, the systems and processes that they have are very complicated and a little bit difficult to follow. And I guess it's just because I'm wired this way, and it's just how I kind of approach everything. But it is always surprising to me that people do not start with just a simple process first and then building on it. All right. So let me explain to you what I mean here. Here at Spotlight Branding, we practice what is called EOS. It's the Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's basically just a standardized, structured way to run a business in terms of like setting goals and moving forward. And their big thing is called traction. And it's just basically the idea that something is better than nothing. Just always be trying to do something to move things forward. And the easiest way to do that is starting simple. All right. We can dive into a whole episode about EOS and just talk about, the structure and everything, but that's not really what we're here to do on this podcast. But when you are looking at a new process or even a decision and you have to come up with, maybe you're coming up with a new service, maybe you are restructuring how you're going to do something in your firm, start with something simple, right? First of all, simple is easier to understand. You're not having to build out an entirely complicated system that could take you a lot of time to do and put you behind. You're not having to take the time to learn it. Your team's not having to take the time to learn it, all that kind of stuff. And look at, start at the end. We're big on what's called counterfactual simulation here, where you start at the end and work your way backwards to figure out the steps that you need to be taking in order to actually reach the end goal that you set. So start at the end. What is the easiest way you are going to get from point A to point B? All right. And that's just where you start. There may be more advantageous routes that you can take along the way, but at least just get started on your simplest route to get to your end point. And along the way, once you get comfortable with that process that you've started, then you can work on incorporating improvements and improving efficiencies. Maybe there's some holes that you can fill along the way, whatever. But just getting started, figuring out, like I said, the easiest way, the most direct line from point A to point B, and just getting started. That's the hardest part. A lot of people get bogged down with, wanting to make sure that everything's perfect before you start it. And that's not necessarily what you need to do. And I know as an attorney, a lot of you are very much perfectionist, super type A personality types that, you just got to have everything. You got to have all the data. You got to feel like everything is perfect and ready to go before you roll out. And a lot of times that hinders a lot of progress that gets made. And I struggled with this a lot at first. If you're familiar with the Kolbe assessment, I've talked about it on the show before. I am a very high fact finder. I'm going to ask a ton of questions before I feel comfortable about moving forward. But at the same time, and I know this sounds a little contradictory, I look for the easiest path, the path of least resistance to solving a problem. And admittedly, along the way, look, there could be other ways of doing something that could yield better results, that could end up being more efficient, could end up, getting me more data, whatever the case may be. And along the way, I will try those out. But at the start, I am going point A to point B as efficiently as I can, as fast as I can. All right. Then I can go back and replicate it. I can try other ways, but I want to get something started. I want to, again, it's that whole traction idea where something is better than nothing. I want to get through it. I want to run through a process once, at least, maybe a few times, especially if it's something that you're repeating a lot. get a good feel for it. And then from there, I can tinker with it and make edits and changes and all that kind of stuff to make it better along the way. And that, I think, is the big thing. A lot of attorneys will want to make the process or whatever it is perfect before they ever try it. And whether you're doing traction or whether you're taking a simple approach, whatever it is, however you want to look at it, just get a skeleton process together. Get yourself from point A to point B. See what it's like along the way. And then that gives you a better idea of what you need to accomplish, what you can improve on, where some of the holes and the gaps are that you can fill. All right. Hopefully that all makes sense. You don't feel like you have to overcomplicate things. Don't feel like you have to have something perfect to get started. All right. You can have a version 1.0 of a new process, a new system, whatever it is. And then as you're going through it, as you're basically beta testing it, but it's rolled out, you can build a version 2.0 that fills in some of those gaps and everything like I mentioned. And doing that, you are already way ahead of where you normally are because you have data, you have experience doing something. And, was it perfect to begin with? No, but a lot of systems and processes are going to constantly be tinkered with and improved upon. Nothing is really ever going to be truly perfect when you roll it out. And so being able to let go of that expectation for yourself is going to do a lot for getting more productivity out of your firm, making things more efficient, and just providing a better overall experience from running your firm. So hope that was helpful. Hope that gave you some things to think about. If you're not looking at things simply, one of our core values here at the office is simplicity. And if you're not looking for simple solutions to your problems or to ways to grow your firm, start there. Start there, get traction, get something going, and then tinker with it after you've been doing it for a little bit, because you'll have a better understanding of what actually needs to be done. You're not just speculating on what you think might happen with a system or process when you're building out. Have a simple solution, most direct point A to point B, and then tinker with it along the way. Make improvements after you've done it a few times, whatever it is. So I know it was a little different for this week, but I hope that was helpful. Again, thank you so much for continuing to listen. Also, be sure, I haven't plugged it in a couple of weeks, but continue to check out Center Stage. We're having a lot of good conversations. We've got a lot of great guests lined up over the next few weeks. I'm really excited about how that show is growing. And I thank you all for continuing to check it out. It is everywhere you can get this show. So Apple Podcasts, Google, Pandora, Spotify. We're on YouTube. Also on our website, as always, spotlightbranding.com. So yeah, that's going to do it for this week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Please visit lawfirmmarketingminute.com for more information. We'll see you next time.